We are live. And what I would like to do in this video is I would like to share a concept with you, which I believe is transformational and which I believe could just bring tremendous value to your life. Many people, they always ask questions about how can I earn more money? And it's not really a simple fix or an easy fix. There are certain things that you can do to make yourself more valuable that would end up making you a whole lot more money, no matter what field you're in, sector you're in, what career you have. If you're a business owner, there are some key concepts in life that you can learn that will really help you out. If it's earning more money, if it's getting promotions, if it's getting raises, if it's getting business deals. And I'm going to share with you a concept that has been transformational to me and my understanding of money and my understanding of business. And it was when I read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It was a good book. I recommend that you all go and read it. But there was a chapter in there, I believe it was chapter 4, and it was entitled Think, Win. Think, Win. Transformational concept to go and to think win. Many people, what we do when we're going and we're negotiating deals, we don't think win. We think win. We think, how can I win? How can I get the best deal? It's all about me. So when you think win, you're thinking about yourself. But then when you turn around, it doesn't matter what the other person does as long as I win. If I win and you win, great. But really, I'm just trying to win. If I win and you lose, then whatever. I win and you lose. You should have negotiated a better deal, or you should have did something to get a better deal. We don't really care when you're thinking just about your own win. Or if there's a situation where you're gonna win and I'm gonna lose, then I'm just gonna mess it all up and say we're both gonna lose. I'm not gonna negotiate a deal where I lose and you win. Instead, we're just going to be a lose-lose situation, and there is no deal to be made. But the concept of to think win-win means do not just think about yourself. Do not just think about what you can gain. Don't just think about what you can get, but instead think about what would be a win for you and a win for that other person as well. When I think about this, I think about when I travel and go to vacations, and sometimes you go to spaces that don't have as much money as the people in the area that you're in. So when I go to other countries, sometimes I will go to places where people are selling a lot of things, or sometimes you come out of the airport, people are selling, or you get off of a cruise ship and people are trying to get you to buy things, where it's like a flea market type thing where you go there and everyone is trying to sell to you. So I used to pride myself on going there and negotiating the best deals that I can. I don't care if it's a t-shirt, if it's a hat, if it's a souvenir that I'm going to take back with me, if it's food, whatever it is, I'm sitting there and I'm negotiating. And I really prided myself on being just a fierce, tough, good negotiator, where I could even have competitions with family members and things, people that I'm out there with, where, ooh, watch how low I talk them down to, or I'm a master negotiator. And I would always feel good when I negotiated and I got the best price for myself, no matter how that other person felt about the deal. I knew that they were more desperate for a sale than I was desperate to buy. So that always gave me leverage to get it as low as possible, where they're looking at, oh, even if I make a tiny bit of profit, that can help me feed my family. And I'm looking like, well, if you don't bring that price even lower, then I'm just gonna walk out of here and you get nothing, right? And so with that, I've learned over time that that mentality can be detrimental to you in the workplace, in the business that you're trying to conduct, and just life in general. And now that I think about it, if there are people that have a lot less resources than I do, yeah, I know they're going to start up really high and they see you as a foreigner and they think you have money. So they probably put the price higher than it needs to be. And so I'm not saying negotiating is bad or negotiating is wrong. What I'm saying is now I have more of a mentality to let's work out a deal that's a win for me and that's a win for you. I don't want to work out a deal where I get a win and you feel like I got over on you. Instead, I want to work it out to where it's mutually beneficial because that's how business should be done in general. And so I had to shift my mind, shift my perspective, and shift my thinking on thinking win. And so in life, what you really have is you have givers and takers. You have people who have a giving mentality and people who have a taking mentality. And I was in my morning Bible devotion this morning and I read Romans 15:2, and it says, each of us should please our neighbors for their good to build them up. And what that made me think about was this concept of think win win, where we should be trying to build others up. We should be trying to look out for the good of others. And when we do that, that it is actually transformational. And so then when you think about people who are takers, it put them in bad situations. The reason it puts you in a bad situation to be a taker is because the way that most people, whether it's careers, jobs, businesses, the way that most people get paid is off of the value that they bring. If you're working for someone, then you have to, an organization or a company, then you have to provide value for that company, or that's why they hired you because they believe that you're bringing value. And when you look at the numbers, most people will try to bring in 10 times more value than what their actual salary is. So you bring in more value than what your actual salary is so that the organization can use those resources and finances to be able to cover other expenses like rent and air conditioning and X, Y, and Z, right? And so you end up only getting paid a fraction of your value. And so when people know that they get paid a fraction of their value and they start calculating it and they thinking about it, then they have two options. They can either have the mentality to say, how can I provide as much value as I can for this company? Which means, how can I do my job well? And sometimes even go above and beyond and figure out ways I can help the company save and move forward and be innovative and do all of these things, right? And then you have some people who are takers who are looking like, you know what, I'm going to try to do the least amount that I can for the most amount of money that I can get. And what they're doing is they're making themselves less valuable by doing the least amount they can and by charging or gaining the most amount of money that they can. What they do a lot of times is they limit their productivity, and by making their self less productive, they make themselves less valuable. And then now that you're less valuable, you're going and you're asking for a raise, but the person cannot give you a raise because you have not provided, more value. We want a raise, but we did not raise our value. In the same way, people are overlooked for promotions. And sometimes it could be because maybe you're in a position where you're really good with your hands, you're really good working with yourself, but you would not be that great managing a team. But sometimes people were not providing a ton of value where they were. So why would they put you at a higher position? Because if you're not faithful with little, you can't be entrusted with much. And so really is based off of value. When I think about an example of this, I think about when I was a teenager and it was me and someone else, and for a job what we had to do was we had to hold signs. So I was one of those people that waved the sign, try to get you to go to the store. There was a store that was going out of business, and so the store is having a going out of business sale. Everything was crazy discounted, and it was a clothing store for suits. And so me and this other person worked. And so they put me on one side of the street where there will be a lot of traffic in this big mall square. I was out kind of where the traffic was, and the other person on the other side where there would be a lot of traffic of people. So we were both to sit there and to hold the signs. And so the person that I was working with, they did not like the compensation that they were getting. And because they did not like the compensation they were getting, the person would come over to my area and I would say, "What you doing over here? Like you're supposed to be holding your sign." And they're like, I'm going to get something to eat. I'm going to get a snack. I'm going to do this. So they wouldn't be there holding the sign. And the person who hired us was in the store, so they didn't know, whether or not we were on our spots because they couldn't see us from inside the store. And so what ended up happening was this person was not creating value for that organization. He's supposed to be doing promotion, but they're not doing promotion. Instead, they put the sign down, they hid the sign in some bushes, and they went to go get them something to eat, and they came back an hour later and they were acting like they were there the whole time. And so then when the person was not getting as many sales, excuse me, take a sip of water. So as the person was not getting as many sales as they once were getting, what they had to do is they had to go out of business even sooner. And because they went out of business even sooner, it means we couldn't get paid for going out there and holding the signs. But there was a time or two where the owner actually came out and found that the other person I was working with was not on their spot. And as a result of that, they never recommended that person for any job or support with anything else, where I was able to get recommended for many other things. Why? Because I was there and I was trying to create value. The other person was there and was trying to figure out how they could get out of creating value, how they could not do the job that they were getting paid to do. And so I want you to have the mentality of wherever I'm working, whatever I'm doing, how can I provide value to these people? How can I provide value to this organization? Why? Because your compensation is tied to the value you create. If you wonder why one lawyer gets paid, his company pays him $1 million a year, while the other lawyer gets $80,000 a year. It's because the lawyer that gets a year is able to bill for two, three, four, five, $10 million, and he gets a fraction. He or she gets a fraction of what they bill for. On the other side, the other person bills for 200, 300, 400,000. So they get 100,000 or 80,000, a fraction of what they're able to bill for. So the more valuable you are to your organization, the more income you produce, the more you help that business grow and thrive, the more that business is able to compensate you. And so your goal whenever you have a job, career, or wherever you are, is how can I add more value? Now, this concept is good in businesses as well. For people who are in business and you're trying to get business deals done and you're negotiating, what you should always do is you should think win win. Don't think I'll win and whatever you get, you get. And so I was talking with people recently. It was an organization, and they were asking another organization, they were pitching a service to another organization where that organization would pay them for their services. And so when I asked this organization, I said, well, why did you pick the price point that you said? Say the price point was $300. It wasn't to say it was $300. I said, why did you pick $300 as the price point for your service? And they said, oh, because I need $300. That's how much the service costs. And so I said, well, have you ever thought about it from the perspective of the person that you're trying to get to buy? Have you ever thought, what's a win for them? What's a good deal for them? And then you can turn around and restructure your business or organization or your plan or your idea in the way that creates what they perceive as a ton of value for them. If you could create a ton of value for them, then they will gladly give you over more resources. And so when we're creating our business ideas and plans and all of these things, often we're thinking about our value, what we get, what we want for our time, our product, our services, but we don't think about how we can add value to the organization we're serving. But when people start thinking about adding value to the organization they're serving, then they come up with some really creative ideas on how they can generate more income for the people they want to do business with. And they find out how to generate so much more income for that organization that organization has no choice but to say yes. They'll work with you because of the value that you are providing for them. And so, what you want to do is you want to always be someone that is providing value for others. And then, when you look at those who are providing value, so what you also want to look at is characteristics. I think about characteristics of people who are takers. When I think of takers, I'm thinking of people that are self centered. It is all about them, it's about their good, not the mutual good of others. I think about people who are opportunistic, people who are going to take whatever opportunity that they can that's best for them without any concept of sacrificing for the team. That's people who will leave you out to dry, right? They'll leave you out to dry, leave you hanging, right? If an opportunity comes for them. You don't want to connect with people like that, or people that's just focusing on their personal gain and what they can get. So if you are someone who is a taker, always looking at what you can get, then unconsciously what you're doing is you're making yourself less desirable in a business or a workplace because people aren't looking for takers, people are looking for givers. And when you become a person that is a giver and giving, you'll be surprised how many more people will turn around and want to do business with you, want to hire you, want to give you raises, want to give you promotions. Why? Because they're rewarding behavior of you giving something to me. Now I'm going to give you back a fraction of what you gave to me. And so traits of people who are givers, givers are empathetic. Empathy is the ability to be able to feel what someone else is feeling. So they're empathetic in the way that they're able to relate to the person, the organization, the structure. They're able to relate to them. And so the challenge with some people who are takers is they can't relate. They make it a versus me versus you and I'm going to try to get as much money as I can from you without doing a ton of work, right? They're looking at taking. But someone who's empathetic is looking at, no, this is a business, this organization. I want to bring and provide value to you. When you look at characteristics of someone who's a giver, they are supportive. I do not want to be in groups with takers. If you are with in a group of takers, then everyone's going to look out for themselves. Also, when you look at takers, people are going to complain. These are the people that nag. These are the people that complain. These are the people that's hard to please. These are the people that, you are toxic for the work environment. But people who are given, they are a blessing to the work environment. And so the people who are givers are also collaborative, meaning that they're willing and they're able to collaborate with other people. And when they collaborate, they don't just want to take the credit all for themselves, or they don't want to make it look like they're doing it on their own, but they want to make sure that everyone gets credit. And so that's why this concept of think win win is so big, and why it's so important, and why it's so impactful, and why it's so transformational. And we think about this. I just used the idea of a job or a career, and I used it in business, but this is also in life. There's a phrase that or saying that says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Or first, you need to seek to understand, then to be understood, right? Meaning that some people say you have two ears to listen, one mouth to talk. And a lot of people think, oh, I could get the raise, I could get the promotion, I could get the business deal, I could get this if I say the right thing. So what is it that I have to say in order to get what I want? But instead of saying, what you have to do is listen. And once you listen, then you find out what the needs are of others are. And when you turn around and you start meeting the needs of others, then that's when you become more valuable, because you are creating solutions. And so I want you to go out. I want you to get those raises that you want, those promotions that you want, those business deals that you want. But in order to do it successfully, continuously, you have to think win win. Now, someone who thinks win lose, where as long as I win, I'm good, and whatever happens to you, they may be more successful in the immediate future, like in the short term. But in the long term, nobody's going to want to do business with you. No one's going to do deals with you, because they know the type of mentality that you have. I could think about some people right now that I know, and I wouldn't do business with those people. Why wouldn't I do business with those people? Because I know that they are takers. They are looking at how they could get as much as they can get out of the deal. If I put myself in a position where I'm in business with a taker, I know at the opportune time, they're going to find a way to take. And so that's why I focus on trying to do business with givers, people who are not just about what can they get for themselves, but about producing value for others. And so I hope that this video helps you to start thinking win-win. This is just one tool in your arsenal that you'll use, that will help you on your journey to be able to generate, to create, to demand more income. If you enjoyed this video, then watch the other videos which are on my channel, which are all about financial literacy.